So Pedro is a deaf man that we've known for years down in Peru, and he had been trained. He had gone through DOOR, which is a deaf training program, to go back to his own country to be a missionary to his own people, deaf people in Lima. And he didn't have a place. He didn't have a church. He was not using those things that he had learned. And so we had been searching for a church for him to plug him into so that he could reach other deaf people. And we did find finally a church in Lima. It's a Christian Missionary Alliance church. Pastor Yvonne Rubio is the head pastor, and they've hired Pedro on, and we support that financially as well. And Pedro is reaching out to the deaf community in and around that area. Right now, he's teaching sign language to hearing people in the church.
I started in June developing the sign language curriculum and classes in order to teach first and second levels grades of sign language to a group of people to support them in learning how to sign. We are working with the deaf, using the Bible to teach the students the way of God, the call to service, and the Word.
The hearing people in the church want to be intentional in their outreach to the school across the street, which is a school for deaf kids. Their goal was to directly outreach to the school for deaf kids. So they had learned sign language for 6 months. They had put together a program all in sign language, games, presents, and we had this huge Christmas outreach and invited the entire school. So every student came. There was about 68 students. The entire staff came, the principal came, everyone came. And they were just so overwhelmed and pleased to see that everyone in the room signed. The entire program was in sign language. The message was in sign language from Pedro. And it was just a really sweet time for these kids to see that these adults had taken the opportunity to learn this language and to be able to talk to them in their own, what we call heart language, which is sign language.
Teaching a group of deaf people sign language and through sign language to teach them the Word of God. Then, with the support of the church and other families, we will train the group of deaf people to be interpreters who will then teach sign language to other deaf people through the gospel.
That church has just embraced him. He's part of the staff. He is learning and growing, and his ministry is growing. And we do have a need, though, to make more Pedros, if you will. So Pedro is, one church. There's 14 million people in Lima. I don't know what percent of those are deaf, probably about 1 to 2%. It's a lot of deaf people. It's a lot of churches that we're going to need to reach.
Continue to pray and bless our work. Also, for the activities and programs that we want to develop where we are working with the deaf with the formal permission of their families.